Okay, so you've probably seen the headlines. There's a lot of talk about rising tensions in the Middle East, and for very good reason. For decades, what's been called a shadow war is now really threatening to explode out into the open. And that leads us to a really critical question.
And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Because this isn't some distant conflict that has no effect on the rest of us. Oh no, the shockwaves from this could directly impact the price you pay at the pump, the stability of the entire global economy, and that delicate balance of international power. So let's get into how.
Right. So to really get what's happening now, you first have to understand the unique nature of this fight. See, for decades, this hasn't been a conventional war with armies on a battlefield. It's been something much more complicated, a shadow war.
So you've got two very different kinds of power here. On one side, you have Israel, which is a total technological powerhouse. They rely on some of the most advanced, cutting-edge defense systems in the world. But on the other hand, you have Iran, which flexes its muscle through a large military and its huge influence across the region.
And this is what that shadow war actually looks like. Instead of direct state-on-state battles, the fight happens indirectly. Iran, for example, supports militant groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, which Israel sees as a major direct threat. Both sides use targeted drone and missile strikes. And more, the battlefield is digital. We're talking about serious cyber warfare. It's a way for both of them to land some heavy blows without kicking off an all-out war.
But of course, you've got to look at the other side of the coin. From Iran's point of view, a lot of the instability in their neighborhood is a direct result of actions taken by Israel and its biggest ally, the United States. And you absolutely have to understand that perspective if you want to know what motivates their actions.
But this long-simmering shadow war is now being supercharged by one single factor. And it's what many people consider the most dangerous part of this whole situation, Iran's nuclear program.
This right here is the absolute heart of the mistrust. Western countries, and especially Israel, are really concerned that Iran's program is just a cover for developing nuclear weapons, which to them is an existential threat. But Iran has always said that its nuclear ambitions are peaceful. They say it's just for things like generating energy and for medical research.
So when you boil it all down, it really comes down to a fundamental lack of trust. This massive gap between what Iran says and what the West suspects, well, it's like constantly pouring gasoline on a fire. It just raises the stakes and makes the risk of a really catastrophic miscalculation dangerously high.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. Why should someone living thousands of miles away even care about this? Well, because a direct war between these two wouldn't stay contained for long. It would have a serious global ripple effect.
A major war here would almost definitely not stay a two-player game. You've got Israel's biggest ally, the United States, who would likely get pulled in. At the same time, Iran would probably get diplomatic backing from world powers like Russia and China. And just like that, a regional fight has the potential to become a very tense global standoff.
And then there's the big one, the economic factor that connects every single one of us to this: oil. The Middle East is basically the engine room for the world's entire oil supply. Any major disruption there is felt everywhere.
The economic domino effect would be fast and it would be direct. A war breaks out in the region, that disrupts critical shipping routes, which immediately tightens the global oil supply. What happens next? Fuel prices at the pump shoot up, everywhere. And when the cost of energy goes through the roof, so does inflation, making everything from your groceries to your Amazon order more expensive for all of us.
So yeah, this is not some abstract geopolitical game. We're talking about a real, tangible impact on your daily life. It hits everything: job security, the prices of basic goods, and just general economic stability. It's a pretty stark reminder that these conflicts are never as far away as they might seem.
So, where does all this leave us? Well, we're standing at a critical crossroads where the path forward is anything but certain and the stakes, honestly, couldn't be any higher. With a potential for a global catastrophe on the table, things like diplomacy and peace talks are no longer just nice options, they're an absolute necessity. Finding a way to cool things down through dialogue is really the only way to pull back from the brink of a much bigger and more devastating war.
And that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? Are we just watching the next phase of a contained shadow war, or are we watching the opening act of a conflict that could literally change history? The answer? Well, that story is still being written.